You're supposed to like put nerd things in the background when you do the nerd video. Debuting in 2014, Satoru Noda's Golden Kamui quickly rose to critical acclaim and sales, and is probably one of the best manga of this decade. But what is this weeaboo sensation? Golden Kamui takes place in the early 20th century in Hokkaido, the most northern prefecture of Japan. Ryuichi Sugimoto, a veteran of the brutal Russo-Japanese War, is informed of a rumor about a large quantity of gold at the height of Hokkaido's gold rush. The map to it having been tattooed on the back of 24 escaped convicts. Sugimoto, still suffering from the effects of what will later be called PTSD, and desperate to gather income to provide for his dead best friend's wife, sets out to find One Piece. Not far into his journey, he punches a bear, the manga did this a lot better, and meets a Sirpa, an Ainu girl who, while young, is an expert hunter and far more capable and skilled at surviving the brutal and unforgiving wilderness of Hokkaido. The two of them team up and head off into an adventure that is less chanbara and more spaghetti western, or, well, an udon western, if you will. With its stunning artwork, adventure-driven narrative, and a lot of homages to Western media and culture, I mean, a lot, Golden Kamui won me over in a heartbeat. While its characters might not be insanely complex, they're all highly motivated and driven, which keeps the plot rolling at a back-breaking pace. The series makes me go from questioning what I just saw to laughing to full-on weeping at every chapter, and yet it never feels like it has a tone problem. So yeah, tears, violence, film homages, the gang's all here. But what makes Golden Kamui especially memorable is its representation of the Ainu. The Ainu are an indigenous people of Japan who existed before the people we know as the Japanese actually came to the island. And sadly, like other indigenous people in various cultures, they have a terrible history of their land being annexed and forced into integration with their colonizers. The Ainu were not even recognized as an indigenous people until 2008. As of today, the Ainu language is on the verge of extinction, with only an estimated 100 people who still speak it. Centuries of this oppression has led to few depictions of Ainu in Japanese media, let alone anime. So Golden Kamui, with its sympathetic and well-researched Ainu lead, was considered a huge deal.
GMO white talk about anime, they talked about animals and stuff.
Okay, so here's where I'm going with this. Along with the depictions of Ainu culture, themes of man versus man, man versus himself, man versus nature, and a lot of bara undertones. I mean, a lot. Another big thing Golden Kamui is known for is its depictions of food. And I don't mean Game of Thrones, Redwall, the Feast of Cornish Hens, doused in honey and juniper, served with fresh bread, smothered in sweet pies and lemon cakes. All the food in this series is awful. See what I did there? Satoru Noda said that he was inspired by Bear Grylls' Man vs. Wild, and holy shit does it show. Ain't no sweet cream pies stuffed with berries and roasted figs here. The majority of Golden Kamui thus far takes place in the winter, and hunting and cooking is done by a character who has grown up in this environment, where you eat what you can get and no part of the animal is wasted. Brains, lungs, entrails, anything to stay alive, my dudes. Holy shit, how does this entire cast not have Kuru? And yet, so much time goes into showing every little detail of this process, from the hunt of the animal, to the preparation, to, as another well-known anime might say, the foodgasm. Sort of. And outside of cosplay and animals, I actually really enjoy cooking. It's another thing that's a really big hobby of mine. So, inspired by all those other nerds who make dinners based on their favorite shows, I set out to create a Golden Kamui-inspired dinner. So, few problems. One, replicating the actual food that's eaten on the show. Many of the items eaten here are wildflowers and plants that only grow in the Hokkaido region. Also, here is a list of things that have been eaten in Golden Kamui: squirrel, horse, bear, orca, sea lion, otter, eagle. As the majority of these animals are in the Endangered Species Protection Act, this was going to be a little tricky. So I'm going to be doing deer. I said it on deer. The Ainu forego many traditional meals we associate with Japan, such as sashimi, and even for Japanese natives living in Hokkaido, more common foods we associate with Japanese, such as rice or soy sauce, were far harder to come by. One of the big things that the Ainu often harvested was pukusa, which was a wild onion, a little harder to track down. So I ended up I went with negi. I figured it was the closest I could get to something that you could probably find or cook in Hokkaido. Also decided to throw in a little bit of napa cabbage with some pine nuts. So here we go. It's time to make the kamui. Venison can be gamey, so we're gonna marinate it with rice vinegar and soy sauce. Not super common in Hokkaido and not at all the Ainu people, but our Mary gang does do this in one chapter. Cover it, marinate it for 4 hours. Take it out, pat it down to dry. Venison is not very fatty, so it cooks super quick and can run the risk of drying out really fast. So before you do anything, let it rest until it's at room temperature. Get your pan ready, nice and hot. We're gonna sear it. 3 minutes on each side should do it. Take it out, let it rest a bit. Now for the next dish. Onions and cabbage with pine nuts. Clean and chop up your onions. Be like me and forget to turn on the camera. Saute your onions, add some nice pine nuts, not too many, those things are expensive. Cook on low heat until the onions are nice and soft. Toss in some cabbage. Cook until the cabbage is nice and soft. Let's give it a try.
This is really Hina.
And finally, our last dish. Sweet potatoes in maple syrup and miso, or as Asirpa calls it, osoma. You'll need 1 potato, half a cup of maple syrup, about an inch of fresh ginger nicely minced, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, and 2 tablespoons of miso. You can use more or less if you want. Chop up your potatoes. Start to slowly cook them. As you're cooking them, add your ginger, syrup, and vinegar. Add your miso and cook on low heat for 15 to 30 minutes until your potatoes are soft. And there you have it, our Golden Kamui inspired meal. I'm gonna pair this with an alcoholic beverage. If only there was a well-known beer from an area in Hokkaido.
Where I had to go to an actual butcher shop and find venison and go in a Japanese market. I didn't bring chopsticks.
So this was a really fun video to make. I know it's very different from the ones I normally do, but Golden Kamuy is such a fantastic series and I really wanted to do something special to celebrate it. I'll be back soon with another episode of Can We Talk About Animals, but meanwhile, let me know what you thought of this one, or if you tried these foods and thought they were really bad, or if you're inspired to check out this completely crazy, brilliant show because of this. The Golden Kamui manga is available by Viz Media, and the anime is currently streaming on Crunchyroll. That's all for today. Thanks for letting me cook with Golden Kamui.
Hina. I'm gonna set up now.